All right, in this video, we're going to take a look at the area of trapezoids. So first, let's recall our definition of a trapezoid that we talked about a few chapters ago. So a trapezoid is just any quadrilateral with one pair of parallel sides. Okay, and those parallel sides are called the bases. Then we call the height the distance between those bases. Okay, so here's an example of a trapezoid. We've got two parallel sides, those are the bases, and then the distance between them is the height. All right? So our formula for the area of a trapezoid is this: 1/2 times the height times the two bases added together. All right? So let's go through a couple of examples of just finding a straightforward area of a trapezoid. All right? So in this one, okay, if we are starting with our formula, A equals 1/2 times the height times base 1 plus base 2. So let's just plug in all the information we have. So 1/2 times the height. Height is the distance between the two bases, so that'll be 15. And then the two bases are 18 and 40. Okay, so I can type this into the calculator exactly like this. Right? So we can say I'm gonna do 0.5 for 1/2, right? But 0.5 times 15 times 18 plus 40, like that. So if we are going to put that all into the calculator, we need to make sure that we've got parentheses here around the 18 plus 40. And we get 435. So the area of this trapezoid is going to be 435 square meters. Remember, since we're still talking about area, we're talking about square units. All right. Let's try another one. Okay, so here we've got a trapezoid that kind of looks like it's turned sideways, right? So remember, even if it looks like this, the bases are the parallel sides. So the bases here would be the 12 and the 24, and then the distance between them, which is 28, would be the height. So let's plug our information in. Area equals 1/2 times the height times base 1 plus base 2. So the area will be 1/2 times 28 times 12 plus 24. And again, we can just type all that into the calculator at once. So 0.5 times 28 times 12 plus 24, and that gets me 504. So the area of this trapezoid is 504 square yards. Okay, so let's try a story problem with this information. Okay, so here we've got Ryan running a landscaping business, and a new customer has a trapezoidal shaped backyard. We want to figure out how many square feet of grass Ryan's going to mow. So we're given a little bit different dimensions here. Okay, so I'm given that this one base of the trapezoid is 20.5, or we could rewrite that as 20.5. Okay, if we want to turn that into a decimal. Then the height, the distance between the bases, is 38.25, or 38.25 if we write that as a decimal. Now down here, we've got a little bit of figuring to do. So this distance right here is going to be the same as here, 20.5, right? So what that means is this whole base down here, this whole distance, is going to be 5 plus 20.5 plus 5. So that whole base there is going to be 30.5. So now we have all the information we need to find the area. So if area is 1/2 times the height times base 1 plus base 2, my height is 38.25, and my two bases are 20.5 and 30.5. So this would be my setup. Okay, and again, we can type all that into the calculator at once. So 1/2 times my height of 38.25 times my two bases, 20.5 plus 30.5, and that gets me 975.375. But everything we've done has been rounding to the nearest tenth, so let's go ahead and round this to the nearest tenth. Right? We would look at the hundredths place, which is the 7. That is greater than 5, which means this would round to 975.4. So we'll say that the area is 975.4 square feet. Okay. Now we can also go backwards here. Okay, so let's take a look at a couple of problems where we're given the area and we have to solve for some other dimension. All right. So in this case, I'm given that the area is 164 square feet, but I don't know the height. I need to solve for the height of this trapezoid. Okay, well, we're still going to use our same formula. The area of a trapezoid is 1/2 times the height times base 1 plus base 2. Now let's plug in all the information that we know. So in this case, we know the area is 164. I don't know the height. The height is my x. But then I know both bases. Both bases are 12.8 and 20. Okay, so this is how I would set up this problem. All right. Now, let's go ahead and add these values together. So 164 equals 1/2 x. That'll be 32.8. And now I can multiply that by 1/2. Okay? 1/2 times 32.8 would be 16.4. So this would just be 16.4 times x. And now all I need to do to get x by itself is divide both sides by 16.4. And 164 divided by 16.4 is going to be exactly 10. So my answer here, the height, is 10 feet. Now, to do a problem like this, we're using our area formula and just plugging in the information that we know and then solving for the one unknown. Okay? Let's try another one like that. Okay, let's try a word problem. So it says we've got a trapezoid with a height of 24, one base is 4, and the area is 264. We want to find the length of the other base. So let's start by drawing a picture here. Let's see, here's a trapezoid. Okay, so we know that one of the bases is 4. We know that the height is 24. We want to solve for the other base if we know that the area is 264. Okay, so let's plug in the information that we know into my area formula. So area is 1/2 times the height times base 1 plus base 2. So let's see, we know the area is 264 equals 1/2 times the height. We know the height is 24. And then we know one of the bases is 4 and the other one is x. So we can just say x plus 4 in here. All right, so now what we can do, I can go ahead and multiply the 1/2 times the 24. So 264 equals 12 times x plus 4. Now I actually have two options, right? I could distribute this 12 through the parentheses and solve, or, and this is actually going to save me a step, I could just go ahead and divide both sides of the equation by 12. Okay? I can do that because I'm multiplying here. I'm multiplying 12 times the x plus 4. So if I just divide both sides by 12, those 12s cancel out. I can do 264 divided by 12, and we get 22. So we'll just have 22 equals x plus 4. Then subtract the 4 over, and we will get that x is equal to 18. So the length of the other base here is 18.